United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Thank you. Teresa, please take the roll.
Okay, Mayor Jones.
Here.
Horn.
Here.
Keel.
Here.
Bowen.
Yep.
Behrens.
Here.
Mattson.
Yes.
And Jazz.
Yes.
All right, do we have any additions or an approval of tonight's agenda?
Make a motion to approve the agenda.
Second.
Multiple seconds. Any discussion? Hearing none, we'll vote. Mattson?
Yes.
Bowen?
Yep.
Horn?
Yes.
Keel?
Yes.
Behrens?
Yes.
Jazz?
Yes.
All right, how about the minutes from the 1/7/25 meeting?
Make a motion to approve minutes from 1/7/25.
Second.
Any discussion? Hearing none, we'll vote. Jazz?
Yes.
Behrens?
Yes.
Keel?
Yes.
Horn?
Abstain.
Bowen?
Yes.
Mattson?
Yes.
All right. Bills in your packet. Action from the council.
Quick question on, I'm just going through this, Titan machinery, what's that for? I'm guessing, yeah.
For the New Holland, I think it was.
Yes, I got to
Yeah,
scroll up here.
it's, I believe it's cutting edges for that mower.
What's that?
Cutting edges for that
Okay.
mower.
So it was like an addition to, for,
Maintenance, basically, with it.
okay.
Yep.
Nothing, is that with a new piece of equipment?
Yeah.
So it's not under warranty, or that part?
No, it's just a wear part. It's
Okay.
the cutting edge, like a lawnmower blade, basically, and, yeah, they wear out.
Perfect.
All right, any motions?
Motion to approve bills as submitted.
Second.
Boy, we're getting double seconds. Any other discussion? Hearing none, we'll vote. Mattson?
Yes.
Bowen?
Yes.
Horn?
Yes.
Keel?
Yes.
Behrens?
Yes.
Jazz?
Yes.
All right. Any public comments from anybody who is not on the agenda? We put you on there, Frank, so. All right, hearing none, we'll move down to second reading of Ordinance 759, Supplemental Appropriation for 2024. Few minor changes from the first reading.
Yeah, the only changes are 2 or 3 of the amounts changed, and that's because we received bills in January that were paid in January that was actually for last year for December expenses. So that adjustment needs to be made. So only the amounts have changed.
All right, any action from the council?
Make a motion to approve ordinance 759. Second.
Any further discussion? Hearing none, we'll vote. Jazz?
Yes.
Behrens?
Yes.
Keel?
Yes.
Horn?
Yes.
Bowen?
Yes.
Yes.
All right, next up, Resolution 2025-2, Contingency Transfer for 2024.
And this is, we did a contingency transfer last meeting because we had that contingency account that can cover, expenses, small expenses in the general fund. Same thing, same reason. We got a couple of bills, smaller ones, that we could use the contingency money for. So, like I said, same thing, just to cover bills that came in January with December.
Make a motion to approve resolution 2025-2 contingency transfer for 2024. Second.
Any other discussion? Hearing none, we'll vote. Mattson?
Yes.
Bowen?
Yes.
Horn?
Yes.
Keel?
Yes.
Behrens?
Yes.
Jazz?
Yes.
All right. Last up in this section, first reading of Ordinance 760. This is the fines and fees. We've discussed this a couple times.
And what this ordinance basically incorporates, we went through those suggested changes, and from the discussion from the last meeting, those changes were made. They're shown in red in your packet there on the ordinance, on the ones that we talked about changing.
I don't know if I mentioned this, I don't think I mentioned this last meeting. I asked at the mayor's meeting how the other towns are handling this. Crooks has an unbelievable charge for their dog licenses. What do you think it is?
$30.
$1. $1. So when we talk about at 5 that we're not making any money, we're spending all our money on postage, I can't imagine what's happening up there.
I bet they don't have any more people registering their pets.
They
at
don't,
$1.
and that's the sad thing, because he said we don't have, you know,
Well, like I said, when I sent out email, I mean, every town struggles with that. They all
Right.
say, we all have the ordinance, but it's hard to
Maybe
get
we should look at
compliance.
hiring a full-time dog person to track down people's.
Go door to door, track
unlicensed
down
dogs.
pets.
What would the public thinks about that?
I don't want to find out, honestly.
Just look right in the camera and they'll let you know.
The live stream is going to.
I guess I'm being facetious.
All you have to do is
Yeah.
ring the doorbell and you get a mark.
No,
This is
That's
probably,
priority number one.
run on that next time.
yeah, I'd say no, we're not probably gonna look to hire somebody right
Do you have a
now.
dog?
Sean.
this is probably,
submit a proposal.
This is probably a conversation for another time, but at the same time, if we want people to use it more, I think we need to advertise a little better, make it easier for them, and then also just provide maybe a discount or, a monthly giveaway or something. You know what I mean? Something that would entice people to do it.
We stick a dog bone in the envelope when you mail it.
Maybe a free pass at the dog park.
Because right now, they have to come in, right?
Every-
They can do
They
it
have to,
online.
they have to
They
come
can do
in.
everything online.
Oh, they can do it online, okay.
Everything's
All right, I
online.
was
They
thinking.
Yeah, we have it
We'll send them
online.
I got you,
Okay.
so,
I think we put it in our newsletter.
We
yeah, I mean, it's, yeah. it is
have it on
what
our
it is.
website, it's in the marquee, yeah.
And all of the,
Yes,
anything
yes.
else on the fees and fines that anybody else can think?
The locate property pins is the only one, I've watched the video from last time. How many of those do you get? 3, 4 a year?
oh, probably half a dozen to a dozen.
Okay, so you do get
A
a
lot
fair
of times
amount.
it's people that are getting ready to put a fence or something in and want to make sure they get it on their property. and
Yeah.
locate it right.
Into a defense of that, and I've had the same question. There was one year, this is before you guys implemented a fee, I think I had the city come out twice.
That's why we-
And there was nothing. It was free. And so the
That's kinda why we
taxpayers were paying
implemented
for the city guys to come out, and my pins were hard to find. I actually had to hire an engineering firm when I put up my,
I didn't
Well, see,
really
that's-
appreciate it because that's how I found out that our shower, or our sprinkler heads were in the neighbor's lawn.
And we have had to go out
That's
to
Tony's
multiple
fault.
properties, or a property multiple times.
That's
so
why
it's
we
kind of-
decided to
it's
put the fine, or
Well, and I would just, the reason why I bring it up is I would say
Couldn't find it in the
that's
first place, so we
probably,
just put it in.
that's probably the lowest in the surrounding communities. If you go to Sioux Falls, it's gonna cost you $400 to $800, and I don't think they do it. I think
that's an
you bring
actual
in-
surveyor.
You bring
We
in a
just-
surveyor,
We find what we
yeah.
find, we
Yep.
tell them this is
We
what we
don't
found.
guarantee
We're not
it.
gonna guarantee it's an actual property pin, or, here's what we found.
Yeah,
So they can go from there with it.
I mean, at $25 to me, though, we're,
We decided it was 15 minutes of Craig's time, on average.
I don't spend a lot of time, I mean, I'll go out and look for them, I should be able to find them right away if you're gonna find them. If it's by a transformer or by a fence, I just tell them there's no way we can find these, because it's all metal, and that's what we're trying to pick up, is with the metal locator, and
I
All
agree
right.
to an extent, but also, I still think we're losing money on it. Your time could be spent elsewhere, all the above, but.
Next year,
hey,
Ryan.
Ryan, I agree with you on this one. I agree.
Right now, it's right now in front of us.
Just out of curiosity, where do you think would be a fair price for that?
I think $100, but I don't think we should do that right away. I would say 50, but I don't.
What were we?
20?
We were 20. so
We went
just
to
up
25?
Yes,
prior to that, we were free.
yeah.
Tony, would you like to address this issue?
I would, as someone who's used the service.
Yes.
And we've used it a couple of times now and putting in sprinkler systems.
Yep.
And to Councilwoman Matson's case, they didn't know for sure where they were, and now our sprinklers are on somebody else's property. It's $20 maybe doesn't pay for Craig's time or pay for the time, and they think you're losing money. You're not losing as much money as you're losing by charging $5 for dog licenses, but if you go to $100, people aren't gonna call on how the pin's located, and we're gonna end up with stuff in the wrong place. And that can include fences and things that are extremely difficult to move. If you got a fence that goes in and it's on the other property and you sell that house, and then you have a survey done to sell the house, and the fence is on the other person's property, that person has the right to tell that person they have to tear the fence out and move the fence.
Correct.
And even with sprinkler heads, if your neighbor got grumpy, they could say, you need to move.
Oh, we
yours."
moved them.
Well, but I say, if you just let them there, but it comes on.
Right.
So I think going to $100, you'd have a lot of people who would find out it was $100 and say, the heck with it, I'm not gonna worry about it. With our company, I'd probably still pay the $100 to make sure stuff went to the right place. But your normal citizen, from the planning and zoning side, we've got a lot of sheds that go in that people try to stick real tight to the corner of their property. Same thing, we can have them put in, if they don't find that property pin, they'll stick a shed up there, and then our building inspector will come out to check the placement, and then they find out that whether they're being 5 feet off the property line, or 3 feet off the property line, or 4.5, or whatever it is that they don't follow. So I think it's all around for all the things that we do. I think keeping that a reasonable price is a good thing to do there.
That's a good point.
Okay.
I completely
How is
agree with
that,
you.
how's that fee paid for and applied?
It goes to our general fund, so I mean, because the
I mean,
expense
Craig
comes
puts
up.
the $25 in his pocket.
It doesn't go into there, it doesn't go to.
Can I do it for
particular
15?
departments. Yeah.
He's got a side business.
It's flush fund, yeah, but-
I mean, they come down and ask for a property, I mean,
If anybody's putting the money in their pocket, it's Jenny, because that's who we have to pay.
okay. I mean, they call in, and you say, come on down and pay
Yep,
this,
yep.
and then.
Just like if they're
yeah.
paying for a placement permit, it
Right.
goes into the general fund, of
Yep.
course, that's where the revenue goes,
Okay.
and then expenses come out of.
Yep. Are we good leaving it for now?
I'm good leaving it for now after
Okay.
that, yep, so I'll make a motion to approve first reading of ordinance number 760, fines and fees.
Second.
I wanted to make sure it didn't show up as a surcharge on their water bill.
No, it doesn't.
Too soon, Travis?
Yeah. All right, any other discussion? Hearing none, we'll vote. Jess?
Yes.
Barons?
Yes.
Keel?
Yes.
Horn?
Yes.
Bowen?
Yes.
Mattson?
Yes.
All right, we'll move down to reports. Tonight we have the chief and is this the assistant chief? Man, they must be gonna charge us extra tonight, I think. The Hartford Area Fire Department, Chief Schumaker, and I should remember your name.
Assistant Chief Zwak.
Zwak.
So, good evening, Mayor, councilors, back with our quarterly get-together here, so start of the new year, so December, kind of a slow month, that's always a good thing. 17 total calls in December. For the year, 345 calls, 140 of those in Hartford here, so fairly steady from prior years, so no big uptick, which is, again, good. Training last month, or I should say coming up this month, we'll be doing CPR training for the complete department. That's CPR recertification. We also go on to pit crew CPR, and what that is when we go into an emergency scene, whether it's fire, ambulance, your initial staffing all has a position to be when facilitating a specific task in treating a patient in cardiac arrest to be more efficient, eliminate confusion on there. So we'll train on that. We'll also train on our life pack defibrillator and our Lucas automated CPR machine. So, and that's something we require all of our members to complete yearly. We don't do CPR often. When we do, it's very critical that we do a good job of it. So that's one of the has-tos as far as all our membership. So. And then joint training, we had trained on, I pulled up an old one here.
Rapid
We
deployment.
trained
Yeah.
on our ice water rescue gear, our rapid deployable craft, some things like that. We have our 2025 leadership team in place here, only a couple changes, so I'm back again to pester you for another year as chief. We have Bryce Zwack as assistant chief, Braden Johnson as second assistant fire chief, Connor Wortham, Ryan Rikus are still in their roles on the EMS side. Treasurer, we have James Buss, secretary, Tony Stephenson. Our members at large, we have Austin Egebraten and Kelly Kaiser filling those roles.
What's your membership right now?
We're at 38 right now.
Is that comfortable?
We're capped at 40. Probably
Okay.
one of our greatest needs, daytime during the week help.
Yeah.
We have a lot of members that work out of town during the day, so it's always a struggle to be staffed as well as we'd like to be during that time period, so.
But what caps you at 40?
It's an arbitrary number right now.
Okay.
The more people we get, the more we have to invest in personal protective equipment, which can add up in a hurry. It doesn't take long to have $10,000 a person in personal protective equipment. The training that goes into it, we really want to make sure the staff we have, we're fully utilizing those staff members before just, we'll say, adding headcount, adding cost on top of that. So.
Yeah.
If we would get great applicants, there's nothing to say that we wouldn't exceed that, especially if it falls into that daytime during the week type scenario. But also to make that happen, we need to partner with in-town businesses that are willing to let those people leave whatever job they have to go run a call and get back. So those are some discussions I've been having with the chamber leadership a little bit to try and get the message out to the local in-town businesses. So hopefully there'll be some continued messaging coming through the chamber on that to gain some of those additional resources.
All right. Before we move on to the request for money, any questions that the council has for the chief or the assistant chief? Well, we always say, we need you guys when we need you.
So how does that work when you're a volunteer? You just go if you can, and if you can't, you don't go?
Pretty much, yeah. The way we're dispatched, we have an app on all our phones through Metro Communications, the 911 call center in Sioux Falls. Actually, it's very automated now. They hit a button, it bounces to the app server company. It will get paged on our phones. We can see who's responding, who's unable to respond, with the membership list that looks at it, and, you know.
And minimum, who would you need to go on call? How many?
It really varies by the type of calls. We've run some medicals during the day with one person, not optimal, but that's what you get when you have a completely volunteer staff, you know.
So medical would be first responder type stuff.
Yeah, you know, on top of that, we also have the Sioux Falls Regional Mutual Aid Agreement in place, which really is outside the county now. It encompasses all the departments in the county, all the perimeter departments around the county. Reaches as far down as Beersford into southwest Minnesota, Laverne, things like that, all these agencies are set up, whether automatic or non-automatic aid agreements throughout. So we get incidents here that we need additional help. A lot of them are going to be the bigger ones in automatic aid dispatch, i.e. if we have a structure fire, when we get paged, we're automatically going to have Hartford paged, 3 additional engine companies from around the area, 3 additional water tender companies. Just on that automatic first aid, we'll turn around if we don't need them. And it's set up that way throughout the county. So just to try and ensure we have the manpower needed to deal with the large incidents. So we're lucky from a county standpoint. All the departments play well together, are not territorial whatsoever, and willing to lend a hand at any point in time.
What's the kind of that threshold where you would hire somebody full-time?
We've had some discussions on that, what that might look like. I'll we'll say, in its infancy. We can see as Hartford continues to grow, the call volume continues to grow, that we will reach a point, we're not sure what that threshold is, but we did feel that when that point in time comes, it's probably gonna be that weekday, during the day type person. Will probably fire an EMS background, so they can handle anything in there. It might not be in a chief role, it might just be essentially the basic worker role that can then also take on some admin tasks, some station and truck maintenance tasks. But as far as when that's gonna occur, I don't know. Because we also have to think about the financial implications that has to our budget, everybody's budgets, once you start adding the full-time staff.
Right, sure, yeah. Sorry to pepper you with questions.
You're good, that's what I'm here for.
That's good. Anything else? If not, I know we got a couple action items. We might as well handle these separately, I would assume. First one is the request for for the fire department's equipment replacement fund dispersion of $205,000.
Well, kind of all that, the truck is in production right now. Probably looking at mid-March, where the truck committee is getting final inspections, which means the truck is done. That first payment that has gone in, that is paid for the chassis portion. By paying for that, we were able to receive roughly a $14,000 discount on the cost of the truck. So that's what's been paid thus far. The balance of the truck will be paid out by the department probably sometime before the end of March here.
What's this truck for?
It is a new replacement engine.
Okay, the engine, okay.
Yeah,
Gotcha.
it's the main engine.
Gotcha. And when did you guys put the order in, just out of curiosity?
That was January of '23.
Okay, so it's been a while then.
Yeah, a
couple
Okay.
years ago.
I thought yeah, okay.
I'll make a motion to approve the request for the equipment replacement funds and request a 2025 budget allocation of $205,000.
Let's do it separate.
Yeah.
Oh, there's
We'll
two.
do, yeah.
So,
Because we
We'll
have-
do the
request
200.
We haven't
Yeah.
for
adjusted to the
equipment
other one.
replacement funds.
Second. Second? Yeah.
Any other discussion? Hearing none, we'll vote. Mattson?
Yes.
Bowen?
Yes.
Horn?
Yes.
Keel?
Yes.
Barons?
Yes?
Jazz?
Yes.
All right, the second one then is for your request for your 2025 budget allocation dollars of $80,000, and this is...
Yeah, and this is a change, I want to point out. So $80,000 was at budget time. That is what the motion was to give the fire department. That is what the invoice was submitted for, that I talked about with James Buss. Bryon called today and reminded me at the next meeting, when we did approve the appropriation, there was a motion made by Ryan that passed to give him an extra $10,000. So they're going to request $90,000. I do have a new invoice for that they brought tonight. So at budget time, we had a motion that passed for $80,000. The next meeting, we gave him another $10,000. So total should be $90,000.
Yep, I remember that.
Yeah, wasn't it, it was brought to us at 90 originally?
Yep.
And then the
That's
part of the
budget
council voted to bring it down to 80.
Yep.
Right?
Yep.
And then, okay.
Yeah, we went
And
back
then
to
next
90, right?
meeting,
Well, no, we
went
never
back-
voted at 90.
Yeah, we passed it.
Yes, we did. I pulled the minutes,
Oh, we
just
did,
to double
okay.
check.
Yeah, we passed it. And I think ultimately why we lowered that, just for everybody's information, originally, is you guys were the first thing we talked about that night. So we didn't know exactly, I mean, funds are tight, so that's kind of why that got lowered. And then, once we looked at it, after the fact, that's when we did that and increased it, so. So I'll make a motion to, release the 2025 budget allocation of $90,000.
Second.
Any more discussion on this one? Hearing none, we'll vote. Jazz?
Yes.
Barons?
Yes?
Keel?
Yes.
Horn?
Yes.
Bowen?
Yes.
Mattson?
Yes.
All right, anything else you guys got for these guys? If not, we're gonna kick them loose and hope they don't have to go fight a fire.
All right, thank you, guys. And
Thank
again,
you.
if
Thanks for everything you guys do.
anything comes up between the meetings,
Before you
reach out
go,
at any point in
I just want to
time.
make sure. Cindy, are you still on?
Yeah,
Yes.
absolutely.
And how long of a time was that, or was that perpetual until she
It's not
says
an
no?
official appointment.
I say, it wasn't
That's
official
just,
appointment.
yeah, it's not in
I'd
the,
like to appoint her, and here, you can do that.
oh,
Wait a second here.
No, you don't.
oh, don't start that. We're not gonna, gee whiz.
They're
All right.
they're not that much work.
Okay. Thanks, you
All
guys.
right, thank you guys.
Thanks for coming. Yep, thanks for coming.
Send us a picture of the truck.
Yeah,
I will.
Take
Do
us on a
that.
ride.
yeah.
We will do that when it's here, we'll get it up, and this thought that went through my head, and I know if you can do that on a meeting night, when we get it here, I would like to get it up in front of you to show you
Sure.
what we're getting and what's happening.
Oh, I think we can
We
make
could
that
probably
work. We can block off Main Street. Craig's good at that.
We could voluntarily go before or after
Yeah,
the meeting.
absolutely.
Yeah.
Like I said,
If
We're
you
an
need
open
any,
door.
like
Yeah.
bottles broken or anything.
Yeah.
nah, I don't want to. Again, you guys always have an open door to the station.
All right.
Any questions, anytime, you're more than welcome.
Thought maybe it's like a ship.
Thank you. Good enough.
Thanks
Thanks.
again, guys.
Thanks, you guys.
Yep.
Thank you.
All right, most excited, well, wait, Michael's not here. Not,
So it's not exciting.
sounds excited. How's that?
That was brutal.
Boom.
Oh, man.
Justin has the engineer's report.
Ready, you're gonna pump me up and then you just take me down.
You'll have to tell him I gave him an attaboy.
I know.
Maybe an invoice this one.
Reports in your guys' packets, I'll just go over it real quick. We don't have any agenda or action items, so just let me know if you have any questions. Real quick on the water resource recovery facility. Construction has been a little slower right now. We do start seeing that pick up as we're bringing a lot of the equipment actually into the operations building. So a lot of that work's being completed indoors, so you don't see a lot going around. A lot of that work will continue through March-ish. Once they get warm weather, so they can get back outside and start growing PVC in the Aerobond structure. Anticipation is to do some startup activities, call it early Q2, once our weather starts changing, and really have that plant up and running June, and making sure all the kinks are worked out before we have to be in compliance in October. So, Highway 38 water main extension, no update on that as there hasn't been any work on there. Coordinating with Craig and some of his staff on punch list items, especially with some of the warmer weather that will be coming here. There's opportunity to get some of those completed. Some of those will just drag out by nature due to weather until this spring. So intention is this spring, once we're able to get everything seeded, restored, good to go, have that punch list, everything closed out there. But that project is what I'll call substantially complete, and maintenance under operation and functioning. Western Avenue, Teresa provided a good update last time on the bidding on that, so we're pretty much waiting for bidding. We are going to coordinate a business owner meeting here towards the end of the month, early February, just give all those folks an update, current status. Once we get everything bid, get a contractor on board, we'll have another meeting. Once we jump into construction, we'll hold bi-weekly meetings with those on off weeks, as we'll hold bi-weekly construction progress meetings. So that one's just a little hurry up and wait type of deal. We'll have more information coming here in the months, but that'll be a big project, a lot of coordination on it. It will be a disturbance, so we'll try our best to provide as much update and communication on that to everybody. And then the last one, we added a new project to the engineer's report that you guys will start seeing, and that's the Parks Master Planning. So we did kick that off, kickoff meeting with Craig and Teresa here, and that was held on the 10th of January, so really good information. Our team scoured the town after that, gathering all that existing data. So we have a project schedule as follows. One of our upcoming deliverables will be on February 3rd, and that's Parks Trend National Standard Comparison Memo. And that's part of our scope of services that we provided, and having all those timelines and deliverables noted there. So we're anticipating to have that wrapped up in June timeframe prior to budgeting season.
So completion date on the treatment plant is October 15th, correct? That's final.
October 2025 is when we need to be operational.
We gotta be online.
For our compliance.
And the reason why I ask is, we will need to hire somebody at that point then? Is that kind of, do we need to maybe
Probably this summer, right?
So there has been conversations
Yeah,
that
exactly. We've been having
quite
conversations
a bit.
about developing a job description and what this person will do. Justin sent me some examples of some other cities, so we're going to try to put something together.
Yeah.
Probably this spring, we'll start
I
advertising.
thought it'd be nice to have this person hired on prior to startup so that they get a chance to see what the
Yes.
facility looks like without any water in it, so they can actually see how everything works and what it does.
There'll be a lot of learning during that
Yeah,
commissioning
learning.
process with that contractor
Yeah.
wrestling right alongside, so.
I would agree. I'd say that the earlier we get to jump on that, the better.
Yep. I think that's
And,
working out.
you know, just, the way I like to hire, I guess, is just the right person versus, you know, last minute, you know, so, so just wanted to make sure we're on top of that.
Do we have that budget for that? We budgeted for that. And what
Yep,
did we budget? Was it
for
like
that
80?
and- Huh?
Was it like 75, 80,000?
I'd have to look for sure to hear the budget. Kind of all the startup costs and the cost of another personnel, ISD kind of gave some figures of what's trending, but I don't remember what exactly we budgeted.
67.5.
Okay.
Because we figured it'd be at least a third of a year into it already.
Oh, I see what you're
Yeah,
saying.
yeah. We
For
even had
the-
a
8 months
okay.
is
Yeah,
kind of
that
what
makes
Teresa's
sense.
note said.
Yeah, I think we're 8 months. We've also talked about, you know, maybe we could, so you need a class 3 to operate the mechanical plant. If Craig and Jesse get their class 3s, we could maybe even hire somebody that has a class 2, kind of a lower
Yeah.
dollar amount. They can work under their licenses until, then give them so many months to get their class
Yeah.
3 or something and move them up
Oh,
from there. That could be a thing that could happen. We'd have probably there might be
One shot
more
out there.
people with a class 2 out there than a class 3, so maybe that might be something we need to do, look at doing, so.
If I remember right, too, the Rural Water Association will have like jobs posted.
So that was one of the references.
yeah, I
I
said
saw.
that
It
was
a
one
good
of the- yep.
reference that
Mhm, that
I
was
sent
good.
to Teresa. So
Gotcha.
there's some good public sources like that, both in South Dakota, Iowa, and Minnesota, that we can kind of get a regional approach on just gauging, you know, that job description, wages, all that, trying to be
Yeah.
competitive in it too, so.
I just see that as a, you know, something we need to get the right person.
State's
in
been
that
pretty good
position.
about having people transfer across state lines and
Okay.
keeping their
Oh,
license
good.
or converting them over to South Dakota license.
Reciprocity.
Yep, and I'm on that board, so if we get somebody good, we'll get them.
Craig will put you through, hopefully.
Just kick them through.
Well, if you're on that board, you should be having your 3 already.
I would think so.
You should have that pencil whip right up. I don't know what the,
So yeah,
Yeah.
they'll be coming up for.
All those
for
pin
you guys to look
locations.
at.
didn't know that until now.
Yeah, he wasn't busy finding kids.
Yeah.
Pins, yeah.
Taking those $15.
All right. Anything else, Justin?
I have nothing
Any
else
questions?
unless there's additional questions.
Good enough. Thank you very much. We'll move down to Craig for the Public Works Superintendent report.
Just a few updates. With the Highway 38 streetlights, Colton Road, I've been putting that off a little bit because of that accident that happened on 229. That was with DOT and their
Yeah.
contractor that does the lighting for this area, so.
Yeah.
So I've been kind of holding back on that till for a few, maybe another month or so before I contact them with it. DMRs, I just got my last test result back today, so I'll be working on them tomorrow and get those sent over to the state and EPA. The sports complex, we did get the fixtures are installed, so next week when the weather warms up, we are gonna go over there and get the partitions in and try to get a bunch of that stuff finished, wrapped up, so we are ready for early spring. So that's all I got in my report, that's different.
How do we turn out with the lift station? They got that all cleaned or?
Yep, they've been pumping it down there, in there
Yeah.
pressure washing it, cleaning it out, stuff
Okay.
like that, so, yep.
Yeah. I noticed that they had the truck out there, so, late last week.
As soon as I get the results on that sample that we had to take in,
Yeah.
I'll be filling out paperwork and getting
All
that
right.
sent over, so.
Okay. All right, anybody got any questions for Craig? Hearing none, we'll move on. How about Karen? What do you got for your report tonight?
I don't have anything to add. so-
What?
No, not this week.
About petitions.
What about petitions?
I guess it can't be
Circulating petitions.
Oh, yeah, it is that.
Remind them you can pull petitions.
It is that time of year, isn't
It
it?
is that time of year at the end of this month.
February 28th. Date would be due back. You can start January 31st.
They need to be back January 31st?
Mayor, I'm the mayor, and I
No,
know.
you can pull then, and then it's February
So I was
28th.
like, geez, that seems like.
Could be quick.
There's a warm spell. I went door to door and got him in like 3 hours, not even.
It's tough for you guys when you're in the Caribbean to do that.
I don't have to do it.
I just tell people to come over.
Neither does Trev. So
Amen.
bring on the Caribbean.
Bring it on. All right, any questions? Any questions?
It's right off the Gulf of America, isn't it?
Gulf of America.
Yeah.
Wow.
Yeah.
All right, we'll move down to Teresa's report.
I don't have much change either than what's in the packet. We still have just one applicant for the chamber position. It's open till the end of the month, so see if we get any more or not. And I just noted the planning and zoning, they've been working on looking at some amendments to the residential district, basically coming down to maybe adding a second residential district. It'd be residential affordable housing, which would allow smaller lot sizes, smaller setbacks. It would accommodate those developers that are kind of even starter homes and whatnot. So they've been, last couple of meetings talking about that. They actually have a public hearing at their next meeting. And so after that, then it'll come to the city council for you guys to review final approval if it passes with them. Next meeting, we will talk about that open liquor license we got again. We'll talk about what the best way to be to advertise that and the approach of how we want to hang on to it or how we want to get the word out to people and how we want to distribute that if we do.
Okay.
Sam Assam, as you know, is going to be asking about doing a TIF. He was going to come to this meeting, but Tom, our attorney, couldn't make this meeting, so we pushed it off to the next meeting just so if there's questions, we can get his input on it. So it'll be after February 4th meeting, we'll discuss that MOU. And still no word on the transportation alternative grant that goes along Mickelson. Justin sent out an email about it. They said possibly at their meeting at the end of the month, they might decide something. Or if they got too much on the agenda, it might not be till next month. So we'll see if we get any decision or not. So it's kind of my update.
So I lied, I said I watched the meeting, I just watched bits and pieces of the last meeting, so. Can you give me the background of the open liquor license? Is that?
Yeah, this is the one that we had that Hartford Steakhouse
Oh, okay,
had put
okay.
in was the sole, they weren't the only bidder.
We did a request for proposals.
Were they the only bidder?
They-
So I thought we renewed that with them.
We held it, but we didn't ask for more money. We held it for him for one more
For
year, but
next
that
year.
year's gone.
Travis and I
Oh,
did, but the
okay,
rest of the
okay.
council did.
Okay, yeah, I thought.
Oh, yeah.
I guess I was thinking.
Thanks, Sean.
I guess I was thinking I saw it on the sheet when we did it this
Yeah.
fall, but no big deal. So
That would be probably the one for their location,
That's
the
probably where
steakhouse
I-
location.
Right.
Yeah.
This one, we have open that we took requests for proposals. They submitted one, they were going to do another facility here, and
Right, I
they
remember
didn't
that.
get it done in a year's time, didn't get it done in 2 years' time, so now it's open again.
Okay.
So they could potentially buy it
To
again.
their credit, the Blaines don't.
If we
appear to
decide to
open
do
it.
RFPs for it again.
Yeah,
Depends on
and they
what
don't
we
need
decide to
it.
do with it.
They don't need it.
Right.
No, they could do a restaurant
Right.
license there.
I've got one thing that just kind of came to the top of my mind here is the Minnehaha County Rural Water, water allocation up this year? What's our update with that?
There's no change to it.
Because
right
we're
now.
under a 20-year contract, since that ended, was it at the end of
And we
last
did an
year?
extension on it.
There was, so they,
We did get an extension on it. I believe it's to September, October this year.
so they're still trying to figure out what they're
They're
doing.
still, yep, they've given
Okay.
us no dollar amount yet or what they're gonna do with their allocation. I've had conversations with them. I think we've proven that we need our allocation that we have, so I don't think they'll take any away from us. We probably won't get any more since we're only using 30% of it. And then there has been a little bit of discussion that any unallocated water that you're not using, they might possibly charge you for, but there's been no update on that yet.
I wonder if there's any, and maybe I can find this out, if there's any I'm curious on their contracts, because they get their water from Lewis and Clark.
A portion.
A portion, so they get it from different areas.
Yes.
I just wonder if there's any public information, I'm sure there is, on where are they getting their water from and how much are they getting allocated to allocate? Justin, do you have any insight on that, of where, like,
Well, they're in the process of a big
Expand.
project, so that shared resource project, which is up around the Dells area.
Yeah.
I believe their allocation in that plant is $5 million or 5 million gallons a day,
Yeah.
right?
A day,
Yeah.
for a day, a
That's their allocation, part of an 8 million gallon per day
Okay.
plant. So that's where they're getting some additional water capacity pulled out of the aquifer in that area.
Our trouble, like I said, we're only using,
I know, like 638,000
right, not much of our
gallons up
allocation
2.5
now.
million.
And even if we use all our allocation, our pipes coming from them can't take any more. They're at maximum, that would be maximum capacity for them.
Okay.
We'd have to put in all new infrastructure to get it there.
That'd be their max capacity, not ours? Is that what you said? Okay.
What our contract is.
Gotcha.
If we
Well,
go,
we have
if we
contracted,
go
we
to
would
2
pull
million,
everything we have contracted, that would be
Right.
maximum for the
We're
pipe.
at 2.5 million right now.
2 aren't we?
We're at
2.1.
2.1, okay.
Yep.
So if we went to 2.1, they turned it on, we said we need every drop every day, the pipes would be max, is what you're saying?
Yes,
Yep.
exactly.
That's,
And those are our pipes.
Yes, we pay for them. Well, we have a shared line coming down the Colton Road, but then the pipe coming to us is,
Right.
And right now, the going rate is 20 million for 1 million.
$20 million.
$20 million for 1 million more gallons of water per day?
Yep.
The high level number that they're using.
I know, I don't want to get down this rabbit hole right now.
Let's stop.
I would love to get, I'm going to do some personal digging on.
Sioux Falls has got the water rights pretty much wrapped up around everything. Del Rapids, Minnehaha Water does have a well field there that they've got so much water rights that they've got through the state. They can't get any more because Sioux Falls got everything wrapped up. So what they're producing out of their wells, they're maxed on. So now they're getting it from Lewis and Clark. Potentially it'll be maybe some other streams.
So I have a friend who has a friend in Baltic who needs to drill wells. Okay, he runs a business, he needs to drill wells. And Sioux Falls somehow has those water rights with the water under this land in Baltic.
You can get up to 10 or, it's either 10 or 15 gallons a minute. After that, you'd have to
But how does Sioux Falls own that water under that person's land? It just, I mean, I'm not necessarily looking for the right answer, but it's a question I have. Can Sioux Falls monopolize this water market if I'm trying to run a dairy?
You watch Landman? You still get the land, you don't get the oil under.
I think you need to bring that up to 10 acres.
it's mineral rights.
Well, you know,
Take all
10 acre would
water.
say, well, somebody did that long before me, it's like the
I don't
National
get that.
Treasure Book of Secrets, it's in there somewhere.
You don't need to watch Landman, you need to watch Waterboy.
Wow. That's a shift.
Some high quality.
There we go. All right. Anything else on this, or can we move to Teresa's action item for request to go to the South Dakota City Management Association training?
Yes, please.
Yeah, so the association, the South Dakota Management Association is doing basically an afternoon training session up in Pierre. It's going to be February, sorry.
5th.
5th, Wednesday, February 5th. So they're going to have a couple speakers and training sessions, and then a meal that evening. And that'd be basically it. We have a council meeting the night before, I'd be here for that, so I would just drive up in the morning. Attend there.
Try back that same, yeah.
I'm thinking about if the weather cooperates, I won't. They
But
won't
she
come, but
is
if
gonna-
it doesn't, I want to
Oh, it
make
is
sure I
one
can
day.
place
Yeah,
it,
I see
yeah.
that. Motion to approve the request to attend the South Dakota City Management Association training on February 5th.
Second.
Any other discussion?
If you need a hotel, get it. I would say,
Yeah.
don't push yourself.
All right, hearing nothing else, we'll vote. Mattson?
Yes.
Bowen?
Yes.
Horn?
Yes.
Keel?
Yes.
Barron's?
Yes.
Jazz?
Yes.
All right, we're gonna go to old business. We're gonna discuss review the resolution 2024-9, general assessment policy and discuss possible assessment for Western Avenue.
So, out of curiosity on this, kind of humor me. If we wanted to change this from charging per linear foot of frontage and went with the lot size instead, what would that entail? How much work would that entail to do that, to calculate those lot sizes and?
I guess first you'd have to figure out how much you want to charge per square foot. Yeah, I mean, you can do it, it just, you have to
Yeah.
change the verbiage in your resolution.
I'm just wondering from your standpoint, even if ISG is involved in it.
I know when we've looked at it, most towns do it by the foot. There are a couple that do it, not so much on square footage, but do it per parcel. So
Okay.
if you have a parcel along and it's just X amount of dollars. I think there's a couple towns that do it that way when I was doing some research back when we were kind of first looking at this. So I can gather some information on that.
Is this the cul-de-sac issue?
Yeah. I'd heard Harrisburg is one that does it by lot size, I guess.
Well-
I don't know if that's true or not, but, yeah, I'm curious about that, so.
So I
so,
believe,
yeah, and they
Teresa,
did-
to help combat, maybe the cul-de-sac issue, if there is a
We
lot
have a
width,
minimum
that's like-
lot footage.
Right,
So in
right.
cul-de-sac, you may only have a 40-foot lot width, but.
We charge a minimum of 66, which is our minimum width on the lot. So that was the discussion when we set that minimum, is to kind of take care of those situations where you have cul-de-sacs, smaller frontages. We do have that minimum lot foot of 66.
Because 66 is really our minimum buildable lot size.
Yep, exactly, and that's where we got that 66, because that's.
So that's what they pay no matter what.
Right, so if you only got 32 feet, you're going to pay
Correct.
the minimum.
And the general basis for using that, like, call it lot frontage, is because that's the easily relatable area of what you could call potential ownership of that street, that sidewalk section, right in front of your lot versus.
Right.
Keep in mind on that 2 planning and zoning, minimum cul-de-sac, minimum frontage on a lot is 55 feet. So
they're
even
not
though the
much
cul-de-sac
different.
looks like it's small, the property frontage still has to be 55 feet.
Yeah. So it's not that much different, and we still put that minimum in there.
People think they're only paying for the 6-foot curb that's out at the edge of the cul-de-sac, but that's what people are paying on, but it's actually in on that property.
Good point. And this corner lot guys, we just get,
And so, we have had this general assessment policy in place for several years. We decided a few years ago that we're going to review it annually, just to make sure we're staying up with the cost of what improvements are. And so last fall, we did do our annual review. At that time, there was a motion to change for our street assessment, to up that by $25 from $225 to $250. When we went to go through first reading, it was decided by the council, we were going to just postpone discussion on this till after the first of the year. So that's where we're at right now, is continuing that discussion. But the resolution that 2024-9 incorporates that $25 difference that had a motion at that meeting last fall.
So this is for when basically something gets paved. like,
Yes,
in
if we want to
construction
do
phase.
street improvements, and
everything
the
there.
council decides they're going to assess it, and that's
Yep.
every project, like we're going to talk about tonight about Western Avenue, council will decide whether you're going to assess or not assess it. This is the policy we would follow.
Like a corner lot, I'm just trying to remember what.
You get 25-foot credit on each side, right?
Yep, because if you got a street on the other side, which has probably been put in, that you've already paid once on it, you
Yep.
get that 25-foot break.
25 on each side?
25 on each side, yeah. Yeah. But again, your minimum lot width is 66, and your minimum depth is 25-foot setback front and rear.
25 set front back Probably the smallest ones we normally see would be 75 or 80-foot deep lots would be a small step.
I think mine's 90. Yeah, that sounds right. I think mine's 90.
Yeah, everything, most everything, like in our neighborhood,
Yep.
your side of Patrick, Aaron, those are all 90-foot deep.
Yep. Yep.
Cloverleaf is deeper. Cloverleaf is deeper on the east side of Cloverleaf, there's still 90 foot on the.
West side.
Yeah, circle side.
Yep.
The old part of town's 150 on lots, because they're 360 from middle of street to middle of street.
Oh, sure.
So, them are all 150 lots.
Right.
Is there any lots that are utilizing that 66-foot minimum, 60-foot or 66-foot minimum, that are not cul-de-sacs?
Yes.
Oh, yeah, we have in the older part of town especially,
Okay.
that have that minimum.
If you go up to Third and Kingsbury, that person's only got about 5 feet on each side of this, because he's on the corner.
Oh, yeah.
Back to raise.
Yeah, I think
This really kicks in when we're doing a project.
And the RA zone that we're doing the planning zoning right now, that RA is gonna drop down to 55. So the regular single families will be 55, and if they put a Z lot in the RA area, it'll be a 50-foot frontage.
So would we still build them at 60,
66?
at 66?
Would-
We would still.
Yeah, they
build-
still get built at 66, because you got a minimum, I wouldn't change it.
Correct. I
I'm
would-
just tossing it out that.
Right.
See how
Yeah,
they-
that's why I'm asking.
regulations.
Yeah, everything up. Yep.
As far as new lots.
Should we move it up? Yeah, no.
Outside of the RA district, I guess, with, outside of cul-de-sacs too, with new lots though, there's probably not gonna be a lot that are less than that 66 foot, right?
We're seeing them bigger than that.
Yeah. Yeah, and I wonder, is there a way to stipulate the difference of linear foot in the RA district versus, so if we put a minimum of 50 in RA and a minimum of 80 outside of that, is there a way to do that, or?
Well, we have 66-foot frontage, which most of them are built on. It's hard to make their minimum 80, and they've only got 66 feet.
Yeah,
Right.
most of them are above that though, right?
A lot of the old
They're
ones.
not. Okay. Well, I think we need, I mean, I'm good moving forward with this now. I think we do need to look at it a little bit
Yep.
more though, some in the future.
Make a motion to approve resolution 2024-9, general assessment policy.
Second.
Any further discussion? Hearing none, we'll vote. Jazz?
Yes.
Barrett?
Yes.
Keel?
Yes.
Horn?
Yes.
Bowen?
Yes.
Mattson?
Yes.
All right? And then we're going to talk about the possible assessment on Western Avenue.
Yes.
Can I start?
Yep.
Travis and I talked about this a little bit. He mentioned the 271st Avenue in T. Their project that went from, I don't even know what street that is, to the interstate, right?
Yeah, basically they're TLS Road east to the interstate.
Yeah. So I got in touch with Teresa and I said, hey, check with the guys down at T and see what happened. Teresa's response to me was, I talked to the city administrator in T and he noted that T did assess costs on 271st for improvements against the abutting property owners, but the city did receive a federal grant that offset the assessment cost.
Kind of probably like what we had on 12th and Oak.
So the guy down there also noted that the cost of the road was not assessed, just the improvements to make it into an urban section, meaning curb and gutter sidewalks, et cetera. So they did not have to pay the road, because that was all, that whole road
City
project was a
kinda-
grant. That was a big grant,
Yeah, the
right?
city kind of took that on themselves, but
Yeah.
the portions, like I said, the curb and gutter, storm sewer, if there's any water and sewer that needed to make it an urban section, that is what they assessed off of.
That was substantial.
And
In some instances.
I did find out, he was gonna look to see
Yeah.
what the actual assessment cost was, and what they ended up assessing per linear foot is $170 a foot to the property owners. And then, at that time, they were trying to get as many along there to annex in as they could, so they were giving 50% break. If you would annex, they would cut your bill by half, so not quite apples to apples, but,
Right.
you know,
Have the, knowing that it's not the same property owners, obviously, but was that road assessed at the time it was put in? I mean, has that property paid it? Because like, once you paid it, right, you don't have to pay the
There's
whole.
no improvement there, so there's been no assessment.
right, exactly.
Because of rural road.
That's what he's saying, that was a rural, yeah. Right. Yeah, so, you know, as we are going to go into our Western Avenue project, and our project is basically Diamond Trail up to Mickelson, so it's not all the way south, so it doesn't include the coffee cup or the church or whatnot. That's the hotel, you know. We wouldn't be talking about assessing any of those properties, because that's not part of our project, that's the state's. So it'd be from Diamond Trail up to Mickelson.
And the state doesn't do
No,
any assessment.
No, they're just paying for it, so those people for sure are not gonna have any kind of assessment. Like I said, though, as we get closer to bidding it, we do need to decide if we wanna invoke any kind of assessment or not on this street for the abutting property owners. Because if we do wanna move forward with an assessment, we have to pass a resolution of necessity, we have to publicize that, we have to contact every property owner along there to let them know we're having a public hearing on it, to let them come in and we'll talk about it and voice any concerns they have with it. And if we decide to still move forward, we need to pass that resolution of necessity, and that all needs to be done before the state actually awards a contract. So then that's gonna be, that's gonna be in March, so we need to kind of decide now.
This road's a little different than anything else we have in town. The rest, like Mickelson's a collector. Everybody leaves their homes or their streets, goes to that collector, goes. This is a thoroughway, or whatever you want to call it,
Arterial.
that's bringing interstate traffic to Highway 38, traffic from Highway 38 to the interstate, so that's why we kind of thought with the businesses being, the burden on the businesses this year is gonna be tough. I mean, they're gonna lose some businesses.
Those are some significant.
That's why it's, I guess we talked about it, like, since it's not a typical city road, do we wanna assess it?
Yeah, I would be in favor of not assessing it, just with what Craig said there. I mean, that's gonna interrupt a lot of business activity for those people.
And that's one thing that's pointed out to us when we've been meeting with them. They're concerned by the businesses
Absolutely.
of losing revenue.
And they will.
Already.
They will lose revenue.
And then on
Yeah.
top of it, assessing them, they
Right.
probably wouldn't be happy about it.
Is there a way to delay this assessment? Because in theory, fingers crossed, after that road's improved, their business hopefully will flourish, because it will be easier to assess and they'll have more traffic hopefully.
Yeah. I suppose you could do a delay assessment on it. You'd have to set whatever time frame you want on that. Essentially, though, you know, they are, according to our new assessment policy, they are getting 2 years to pay that assessment, because from when the project is done. When the project's done, we give them a year to pay, and then if, you know, you don't pay that year, then we give them a whole nother year before we file it with the county. So they're getting basically
True.
2 years in which to delay already.
Yeah. And from a real estate standpoint too, their valuations should increase.
Yeah, oh, definitely, yeah.
You
I
know,
mean, it's
Not
definitely
necessarily
improvement.
nice when you're paying taxes, but certainly nice if you're going to sell.
So since we just voted to increase it, is there a way, because it's a main artery road, to split it or something like that?
I think we can do whatever we.
You can, because we passed a resolution, which is basically a motion by the council. If the council wants to do a different motion to, on this project, do X amount of dollars,
Right.
you most certainly can do that.
Is there a way, maybe this, Justin, is a question for you, to break that cost of road, kind of like what the T example, what would be to bring it up to what you call urban standard, curb and gutter, collection sidewalks,
Yeah.
you know what I mean?
We can break some numbers down and provide
I
some
wonder if we shouldn't take a look at that. That would make it a little more apple to apple with what they're doing. Basically, what we'd say then is, we're covering the cost of the street, but we're gonna assess you on this portion. Not on the street. We would assess them only on that.
So we don't have sidewalks and
Yeah, there will be.
There will be.
There will be. I'm just asking for the,
Side.
no, I'm just asking for the price. I don't know if we have that. Is that broken out in there yet? Probably not, or is it?
Well, we have all the bid items estimated that are
Okay.
down, so it's just taking bid items. and
Kinda,
doing a shuffle.
okay.
Yeah.
Maybe we should take a look at that. That make sense? Or am I
Sure, facts are friendly.
talking only to myself?
No. We hear you, Mayor.
But then we'd have a way to just say, okay, back to the property owners. At least then we say, yes, you're getting this improvement, but it's gonna cost you X, but you're gonna have nice driveway, sidewalk in front of your place, blah, blah, blah. And it's gonna cost you this.
yeah, I think because we assess literally everybody else,
Yeah.
it's hard to just,
Say no.
Well, I agree
But-
with that, but also the context of this road, right? So it's called a principal arterial roadway. So it's the only roadway in the city that connects two major highways. So it is a very unique road in the function of it, you know? And so I guess I would want to make a point that it is unique, but I also like Travis's point to where, you know, this is, yeah, in the short term, there's going to be a loss of revenue. In the long term, it's going to be easier to get to these places. People are going to want to use that road more because it's easier to turn into DQ versus getting smashed behind you with a car going 40 miles an hour. And so and I'll let you talk, Tony, just wait. But I think that there could be further conversation that probably needs to happen soon
Yep.
of what does a delayed assessment look like, or even a reduced delayed assessment of something like that. Because I think we're all in agreement, we don't want to overburden them with an assessment right away. I'll let you talk, Tony, go ahead, you have the floor.
I like the mayor's idea of, you know, we're not assessing for the whole road, but we're assessing for the curb and gutter, that type of
Yeah.
improvement. I think that's a good way to look at it. Teresa, I believe I caught this from you, but correct me, from Diamond Trail to the bridge, those property owners would not be assessed because that's the state's project.
Yes.
Okay? So I'm just gonna highlight the fact that you all get to answer to the business people. If you're gonna make an assessment, you get to answer to them why they have to pay an assessment, but the guy across the street that's on the state side of the project is not gonna be assessed a penny. Because I'm pretty certain there's a couple property owners that are gonna, if they catch wind of that, are gonna not be impressed with that. And I think in a way, it's not fair to those property owners. If you got business on this side of Diamond Trail, you gotta pay the assessment, but if you got the business on that side, there's no assessment. But you're both getting a brand new street, you're getting all those improvements.
Yep.
So there's not a way to get everybody to pay. It's hard for you to look somebody in the face and say, you have to pay.
It's also hard to explain to the resident that's paid their assessment why that business owner doesn't have to.
or the other
You
businesses
know,
that have paid.
State projects versus city
Convenience.
projects versus,
Yeah.
you know, like literally what I said to Arden was location, location, location. And it can bite you or it can benefit you.
Right.
And it's hard to process all of those variables.
I caught that and I just wanted to
Yeah.
highlight it in
No.
case it went by Amy or all of you.
So, okay, go ahead, Craig.
So when this assessment policy got put into place back when we had gravel roads basically in town, so we were building up everything. We did 6 a month 2 years ago. We didn't assess those people because they had a good street in front of their place, but we decided to do utilities. Here, the state's
But
kind
in
of,
that case, we said that they already paid their assessment.
yeah.
Right, we were just improving utilities underneath, so we had to tear everything
Right.
out.
Back 15 years ago when that was improved,
Yeah.
they paid it then.
Yeah. And, you know, like Western is a usable road, you know, we decided to do it because of the project with DOT, you know, so just another thing to throw out there too, so.
this has a lot of moving pieces, because we're getting them turning lanes, I mean, we're getting stuff added to this road that, like you say, that makes it far easier for them
That
to use
assessment
that road.
certainly is not paying for the road.
No.
Oh, no, no.
City of Hartford
This,
pays for the road.
that's a $5 million
State of South Dakota's
project.
paying for the road.
Yeah,
Right.
no.
So in
It's only a
terms of
small
pay for
portion.
it, they're not paying.
Oh,
for it.
right, yes.
They're paying a
With
portion
this
of their
assessment.
improvement.
Okay, so if we need to get a decision on this, can we get some of these numbers and before the next meeting,
Yeah,
get them out to everybody to look at?
I would be all in favor of having some kind of compromise, but to just not do anything when other businesses have had to experience interruptions and we
Yep.
just have to still assess them. I think that's also difficult to.
And, yeah, we can't find anything similar in Hartford, and that's why I was looking at other communities.
Right.
For examples.
Because really, this isn't the same even as Mickelson. Those all got, they all got
This is
assessed
a
all the way along.
Unique road.
Brandon be another good town to look at.
Yep. Yep.
Right.
Yeah, I checked the-
Crooks even just did their streets, I think, through their.
Yep, Lennox.
Yeah. All right, is that good with everybody? We're gonna do that then, get some numbers and look at her again next meeting. All right?
Look, down by, on the south end there, the highway. It's been there for a long time, yeah.
All right, let's move on to new business. We need to approve approve that advertisement for county chip seal project along County Highway 151.
Motion to approve advertisement for chip sealing project along County Highway 151.
Second.
Any discussion? Hearing none, we'll vote. Mattson?
Yes.
Bowen?
Yes.
Horn?
Yes.
Keel?
Yes.
Barron's?
Yes.
Jazz?
Yes.
All right, next up, oh, this could be a good one. Yeah, but, here we go. Let me get down here. All right.
Can we go on a-
I have to use the restroom quick, so I just want to make that duly noted.
We'll go while you're out.
Let me know when it's done.
Get him the earpiece so we can talk about it.
Oh, man. Oh, wow. I'll never forget that. Oh, man.
Speaking of that, remember you and I's trip to Pier?
Oh, with Nelson, yeah. Oh,
That was
man.
what I was thinking
Anyway,
about when she was going to Pier.
wow. All right, next up on the agenda, we're going to discuss animal control procedures. Jake, I know you'd asked some questions and you followed up. Hold on. I got to look at my notes. I asked for follow-up notes from Teresa on this one too. Dog license, I asked the question, I said, I recall that you said we need to have require rabies vaccinations to have our contract with Sioux Falls Humane Society. Is the question I asked Teresa. And she double-checked with Kathy at Humane Society, and our contract states that we are responsible for upholding our ordinance of licensing and rabies vaccinations. I asked that if the city changes its ordinance and we don't require licensings and vaccination, does that affect our contract? She said Sioux Falls Humane Society would not care if the animals are licensed, although she did list several reasons why it's a good idea, but they would still require the city to uphold rabies vaccinations. Even if we don't license, we're supposed to require everybody to have their dogs vaccinated. And as Teresa said in her note, I don't know how we do that if we're not asking them to prove vaccination when we get a license. I don't know how we
people
get them
bring
to
in a
prove that
rabies
they have.
certificate. You're not licensed
Right.
now, I mean, it's hard enough to get them their license, let them tell them to bring a rabies certificate.
What notes did she list as 4 licenses?
Did she say, oh, Teresa's got, she didn't have, she gave me the
Okay,
cliff note.
I gave you the cliff notes,
Yeah.
there's like 2 paragraphs here, it says. Licensing is universally recognized in cities. It aids in animal information to return them home and ensuring that there is responsibility to the owner of keeping the animals up to date on vaccines. It's also how to keep track of it if it is home. It's also how to keep track of if a home is within the animal limits for the city. Provided that the home is compliant at all, animal limits get complicated as we can't force anyone to get rid of the animals that's well taken care of. So basically, we have an ordinance that says you can only have 4 animals. There's no way for us to track if they're over that maximum if we don't have some kind of database, or for any city to track that. These licenses also help us then enforce the ordinances for vaccines. The issue without this comes primarily to the vaccine compliance. The other primary benefits of animal licensing is promoting spaying and neutering. Hartford in particular is one of the better ordinances I've seen when it comes to vaccine compliances. Basically, long story short, the biggest thing for us, meaning the Humane Societies, is rabies vaccination compliance.
So I don't know if that helps, Jake, or if you have any further comments, questions?
If we don't have 70% of the dogs registered, I don't know how we're
Tracking the rabies.
tracking.
Oh, I get it.
I-
Yeah.
It's all kind of,
Yeah, like I said, I talked with other mayors, every city struggles with getting people licensed or animals, and I'm short of going door to door, you know, and saying, do you have an animal, which I don't know if we want to go down that road. Sorry, you're not gonna get it.
Maybe this was brought up when I was gone. I think,
In the bathroom? Oh, we didn't,
yeah.
we didn't do
You
anything.
guys didn't even get started
waited
talking
for you.
until I walked in.
we waited for you.
I mean, I know we've spent a lot of time on this. I think my biggest thing here is, and I want to comprehend this, so if Tony has a dog that runs loose, I know the timing's bad, so I apologize on that, but if you have a dog that runs loose,
I think I'm referring.
you know, and we have to call somebody calls the Humane Society to come and get that dog. We don't know whose dog it is. It sits in that dog kennel for 5 days. Tony goes to reclaim his dog. The Humane Society in turn, correct me if I'm wrong on this part, they send the city a bill for taking care of that dog, correct? I'm gonna pause there.
Okay, if they know Tony is the owner and he comes and collects it, the Humane
He pays the bill.
Society, he'll pay the bill.
He pays that bill.
And,
They keep 10% processing fee.
yeah, I mean, they've got a kennel and take care of it, yeah, they'll take their cut of it.
You know,
If the owner is unknown, we get the bill, the
So
city
if it
does.
never gets picked up.
So if it never
Right.
gets picked up, which that has happened,
you know.
we'll get the bill.
So what happens if it's, from the hours, somebody calls in a dog at 8 PM at night, the city gets 90 per hour, so we get charged at 90 per hour by the Humane Society, so they're around chasing the dog for 2 hours, $180. Then that person goes to reclaim that dog a day later, do they pay that 90 per hour? So the city does.
Yeah, I was
Now,
gonna say,
let
all
me
trip
hold up now.
charges and
Yep.
mileage, we pay all of that, no matter if they know the owner or not.
Right, so that's what I'm talking about, is that person should be paying that $180 to come and, if we know, so are we able to get that information from them?
And yes, we can, and we've
And
talked
then we
about
can
that, and
take
we
that
can pass
bill.
that along.
Yep, we can take that bill and we can pass it along.
Yep, and we can start doing
Okay,
that.
that's all I care about. I just, if somebody is not being a responsible pet owner, and if there's cost incurred with that, instead of people, they should be paying for their problem, no one else. So, and it sounds like there's systems in place to make that possible.
Right.
Right,
Right.
okay.
So
Yep,
the-
I believe
The
so.
other side of that, Sean, the question I have is the 475, is 475?
450.
450.
450 flat
Yeah,
rate per month?
that they're going to, yep.
So if they come out and they pick up my dog at 9 o'clock on Wednesday morning,
9 AM or 9 PM?
9 AM,
Okay.
daytime, and they pick it up and they impound it and I go to pick them up, what's my impound fee? What are they gonna charge me when I go to pick up that dog?
The owner would just have to pay the impound fees, so that's like
Which
the
is-
boarding and any medical they'd have to get.
$14
So you
a
don't
day.
get no
No tip
pickup
charge.
charge, you wouldn't. The city bears that cost. And our 450 flat rate is based on our average, they looked at our calls for the last, I don't know how long.
Keep your dog at home.
It's based on an average at $65 is their daytime call rate.
So the guy who got his dog picked up at 9 o'clock at night, you could send him a bill as a city for $180 to pick up his dog because it was at night.
It's an additional $90 per hour from 5 PM to 8 AM.
That's what I'm saying, so he could be $180, but if you picked up my dog at 9 o'clock in the morning, how much are you gonna charge me?
I think we could pass that along too, because like Karen just said, they told us they base our flat rate off of $65 an hour. So I think we could, if it's during the day, I think we could bill that owner that $65.
Not, yeah, and we should be.
Is that in our ordinance or no? Do we have to,
We don't have any because we've never billed before.
Okay.
for 'em,
Well,
so.
we should bill them for animal at large, the fine.
And we do that too. We follow up on, if there is an animal very large, we get incident reports. We then make sure they're licensed, rabies,
yeah.
and,
We
yeah,
have
we follow
those.
that all up on the back end. But you're
Right.
talking about the charges the Humane Society gives us, right?
Yeah.
Yep. I think if the owners know, we have a way that, because we get a list of who that owner is, and we have a way that we could pass on the city's cost to them.
That's what we have to, yeah, that's what we have to find.
On top of the fines that we would fine them for animal at large running,
That's,
and
that's,
yes.
that's how we want to have our ordinance written, in my opinion.
Yeah, then you need to modify what you already did.
right?
Yep, and
Yeah,
I think
because we
can
don't
do
have that in our fines and fees. We'd have to modify our ordinance to say that we're gonna start billing for
Yep.
that.
And I think we
Yeah.
can do that, so
You wanna
I,
start looking at that?
Yep.
That's what we need to do.
Okay, good. Man,
Slippery
is
slopes.
that all right, Jake?
Yeah, but we do have the loop closed, right? If Humane Society picks up a dog, we're getting information back that they picked up a dog in Hartford.
yep, we're getting incident reports on every single
Okay,
dog, the
okay.
animal they pick
That was
up,
a
dog
big-
or cat.
I thought that was a gray area previously. if
No.
We were getting the
Right.
loop closed.
Right.
Yeah.
So that we could assess fines and fees.
Yep,
Right, and
yep.
now we'll just work on our ordinance to say, have it say that. Okay, we all right? Good?
Okay, yep, we'll work.
Everybody good? All right, we got 2 mayoral appointments tonight, or maybe more than 2. The first one is for Park and Recreation Board. I'd like to appoint Frank Blaine, sitting right here in the front row, if you don't know who he is. Frank's a good dude, and I know him from going to the swimming pool.
You're in that group? That's a
He's-
special
oh,
group.
He's one of our swimming guys.
He's on a fixed income now.
Yeah,
that's
he's
special.
retired, so that's the kind of guys we like. So Frank has agreed to take a spot on the Park and Rec, so that'd be the first one. I would like to have you approve
Motion to
that
approve Frank
appointment.
Blaine to the Park and Rec Board as requested.
Second.
Second, they're all second. Any other discussion? If not, we'll vote. Mattson?
Yes.
Bowen?
Yes.
Horn? Wow. Give him some fining power pretty soon. Keel?
Yes.
Barron's?
Yes.
Jazz?
Yes, thank you.
All right, thank you, Frank, for agreeing to that. As long as we're talking park board, do we have to approve that these guys are,
They're appointed too.
okay, so I would like to appoint from the city council to the park board, Ryan Horn, and from the city staff to the park board, Craig Wagner.
Make a motion to appoint Ryan Horn and Craig Wagner to the Park Board.
Second.
Any discussion? Hearing none, we'll vote. Jazz?
Yes.
Barron's?
Yes.
Keel?
Yes.
Horn?
Abstain.
Bowen?
Yes.
Mattson?
Yes.
By the skin of the teeth.
Man, you made it. All right, and then I'd also like approval from the council for appointment to the planning and zoning for Keely Espinoza.
Motion to appoint Keely Espinoza to the P and Z Board as recommended.
Second.
Any discussion?
You were looking at me. I saw you.
So Keely asked if she had to come tonight, and I told her she could or couldn't. If she wanted to, she could, so. If she wanted to, she could, so. Keely's an architect.
Come
If you
next
don't,
week.
if you don't know who Keely is, she's an architect, does a lot of work in Arizona in an architect business, so should be really helpful. She'll get planning and zoning kind of, straightened out. Hearing no other discussion, we'll vote. Jazz?
Yes.
Barron's?
Yes.
Keel?
Yes.
Horn?
Yes.
Bowen?
Yes.
Mattson?
Yes.
All right, do we have anything for exec?
I mean, just to
Oh, okay.
make sure we recognize the people who are going off those boards.
Absolutely, yeah.
I don't know if there's any way to do that officially, or,
Yes, we give, so Matt Evans and Gail Blocker are off, and we've given them certificates.
Yep.
We have not done anything for Michelle, she's the only one on,
Present, yeah.
yeah,
And we will.
and we probably will. Have we,
I
you
don't know,
heard
she'll be at
any more?
another
I have
meeting.
not heard
I
any
don't
more.
know if she'll be at another meeting.
I seen that they
But
were
we
doing
had sent her something.
something for meals for her, so.
motion to move to executive session?
For,
Economic development.
And can we do personnel?
and personnel.
Second.
All in favor? Aye.
Not getting a rush to
Thanks for
second
coming,
on
guys.
that one.
Thanks for hanging out.
Thanks, Frank, for coming.